Hi everyone, Matteo here. Today I will compare two portable espresso makers, the WACACO Nanopresso and the OUTIN Nano. The main difference between the two devices is that the WACACO Nanopresso is completely mechanical, so it works with a pump to generate the pressure needed to extract the coffee. The OUTIN Nano instead is battery powered, so you don't need to pump to extract the coffee, but just press the switch. The other main difference is that with the WACACO you need to put hot water inside the water tank, so you need another device to warm up the water, when instead with the OUTIN Nano, because it's battery powered, it has an integrated kettle inside the device. And this is a great feature for the OUTIN Nano because if you're traveling you don't need another device to bring with you to warm up the water. Okay, now let's have a look at the size of the two devices. As you can see, WACACO is smaller and lighter. It's 340 grams when compared to the OUTIN that weighs around 670 grams. So basically almost double. The WACACO is long around 16 centimeters when the OUTIN Nano is around 24 centimeters. So it's basically taller. So the WACACO Nanopresso is smaller and lighter compared to the OUTIN Nano, so that can be an advantage for the WACACO one, but of course we need to count the fact that with the WACACO we need the water supplier, so another device to bring with you. If we are looking to the composition of both devices, I can say that they are both similar. Both they have an integrated cup. The water tank, here is the one from the WACACO, and the one for the OUTIN is integrated into the body. Then we have, of course, the body, the basket, pretty similar, with the portafilters, and the scoop for the coffee, for the ground coffee, that also work as a tamper. Both of them have an adapter for the Nespresso capsule, but I won't compare this because I have only the one for the OUTIN, but I don't have the one for the WACACO. Okay, now let's see at the capacity of the two devices. Let's start with the water tank. The OUTIN tank can fit 80 ml of water, and it's also easy to see because it has a scale mark here. It says 50, 70 and max that is 80 ml. The WACACO Nanopresso doesn't have a scale mark, but if I fill the tank until the line, it can fit 80 ml. So pretty much the same water capacity. But what I know is that WACACO also have a barista kit that is an accessory pack to upgrade the water tank up to 120 ml and also the basket up to 16 grams. This can be a good upgrade if you want to do a bigger espresso in quantity, like a double shot, but of course then the length of the device, it will be a bit longer. Now let's see the basket. Both of them fit 8 grams of ground coffee, but here is the difference. The OUTIN one is slightly narrower and also taller than the WACACO one. And also there is a curious difference. When you tamp the coffee on the OUTIN basket, you tamp like when you tamp a coffee from an espresso machine, which is the side where there is the shower screen. Basically the water goes from this side through the coffee pack and going out from this valve. With the WACACO Nanopresso instead, you tamp the coffee on the opposite side where it sits the filter. See, here is where the water comes from. Goes through the pack and goes on the filter and then through the valve. And this might create a difference in brewing. Also the shower screens are different. The OUTIN one has a circle of holes when the WACACO one has holes more distributed on the surface of the coffee pack. And this can give a better water distribution on the coffee pack during the extraction. Now let's do a temperature check. Water temperature is very important in coffee extraction, and to make sure that we always achieve a good consistency, this temperature needs to be always the same. So now I'm going to run hot water that I pre-boiled with an electric kettle in the WACACO to check the temperature difference between two extractions, one after the other. Because one thing that you need to know is that to achieve a good temperature during the extraction with the WACACO, you need to preheat the device. Because if the device is cold, the water that will extract the coffee, it will be too low. And now I show you. First I take the WACACO reusable cup and I preheat it with hot water. So when I will pour the water from the machine, it won't lose a lot of temperature, and I want to keep all the time the temperature stable inside the reusable cup, so I can check with the thermometer probe. Now the water is hot, 99 degrees Celsius. I'm going to discard the water. I fill this with water until the line, hot water, like when we're gonna do our coffee with the WACACO. Now I close it and I'm gonna pump the water inside the reusable cup and check with the thermometer the temperature. And the thermometer probe is showing me 71, 70 degrees, and now is, of course, is dropping the temperature. So 70 degrees. Now, if I straight away take the WACACO and I fill again the water in the tank of the WACACO, like I did before, same temperature. So what's happening here? Because the device was already hot, already preheat, now the thermometer probe shows me higher temperature, 77 degrees. So there is a 7 degrees difference between when the machine is cold, when the WACACO is cold, or when it's warmed up. So this is because the water tank is already hot, so it will absorb less energy from the hot water, and also the body is already preheated. Now let's check with the OUTIN Nano. As I said before, the OUTIN Nano has an integrated kettle, so it warms up cold water, and it will start the extraction once the water reaches the temperature target of the device. That should be up to 96 degrees Celsius. So now I put cold water, then I close it, and I turn on the device. Perfect. Now the water is start to warm up, and it's gonna be completely hot when the 4 light dots will be completely on. And now it's almost there, so I'm going to warm up the reusable cup of WACACO. Now I discard the water. Perfect. Now the water is up to come out, and I'm gonna measure the temperature with the thermometer probe, like I did with the WACACO. Okay, all the water came out, and the thermometer probe shows me 81 degrees Celsius, of course. This is already higher than the WACACO one. The WACACO one, the first extraction was around 70, 71. Now I do it again. So I'm gonna place again cold water inside the tank, turn it on, and now let's wait. There you go. Now it's coming out, and the temperature is 81 degrees Celsius. So basically it's the same as the first one, so didn't change at all. Definitely the integrated kettle helps to keep the temperature steady. Now, one thing that I also like is the fact that even if we put hot water in the tank, the machine won't deliver the water until it reaches the temperature target. Also, I find very positive the fact that the device, it starts to deliver the water for the coffee extraction by itself, right after the water gets hot. Because in case we need to press the switch to start the extraction and we forget that we put the water to warm up, can happen that we might end up with a colder extracting water, or if the device keeps the water always hot until we press the switch, probably the battery will run out pretty quickly. So for me, it's a positive aspect about this device to achieve consistency. Now, about this temperature check, don't worry, because the water, it will be hotter when you will extract the coffee with both of the devices. It's not the same temperature that you saw on the screen of my thermometer probe, because we had a bit of temperature loss between the body and the probe because they had space. So the temperature in both of the devices will be definitely higher. Okay, now let's make some coffee. I will try to make both of them at the same time so I can compare them side by side. I will use the same recipe for both, so I'm gonna use my scales to weigh the espresso yield and also the grams that I will put inside both baskets. So let's put 8 grams each basket. The WACACO is done, and now the OUTIN. And the OUTIN also done. I pour cold water in the tank of the OUTIN and I turn it on. Okay, now it's time to put the hot water inside the WACACO tank, close it. I'm gonna use my shot glass to check the extraction and also to check the crema. Perfect. Set to extract. The yield is pretty much the same. Now, let's start to have a look at the coffees. First of all, we can say that crema level more or less is the same. So the OUTIN Nano run slower than the WACACO. You can see also like the darker crema on top. So it looks like that is a bit more like extracted, and also the crema is slightly thicker than the WACACO one, but both of them have a nice crema, something that I would expect from a portable espresso maker. Now let's taste them. Okay, here I have the WACACO one and here the OUTIN Nano. Let's taste the WACACO first. The coffee is not bad, it's a bit cold, but I think that is quite normal. The coffee has a good acidity. Okay, let's taste the OUTIN one. Okay, this is a bit hotter. The coffee is really sweet. Okay, I can say that this coffee has more acidity and less body. This one is more sweet, has more body. So this is more like what I would say close to an espresso machine. Maybe there is a slightly like a bit of bitterness, but I think that is normal. It's one of the features of the espresso. The WACACO one is also good. It's good, but in a different way. It has less body, it's less sweet. It's a bit colder, but it's fine, it's drinkable. I think it's also lighter. I think it's like less extracted, but it's good. I like it. I like acidity on espresso. So I think that is a good espresso, but maybe a lot of people won't like it. The OUTIN one, as I said before, body is amazing. It's super sweet. It's well balanced, maybe a bit too much balance for my taste, but I'm sure that a lot of people will like this kind of espresso because that's recall a lot like what is an espresso in Italy. And so I'm very happy for both, but that's the two main characteristics. The WACACO one struggled a bit more to achieve that level of extraction. So what I will do to extract a bit more with the WACACO, I will run more water. So instead of like stopping the shot at 25 grams, I will go for a longer shot. This can extract more sweetness, will create more balance in the espresso. The problem is that it will be a bit more watery, so it will be less strong. The OUTIN one, I think that if I want to change something, I would run the shot a bit shorter. I would give less yield. So instead of like 24.6, 25 more or less the same as the WACACO one, I would give 1 or 2 grams less. Probably I would get really strong coffee because we run less water, so the coffee is actually stronger. There is more solutes inside the coffee, so it's really like even more intensity. But also avoid that slightly bitterness that I got at the end. That is not negative, it's about taste. And so I think that I'm happy with both. Depends about what would you like. I will say that if you like more delicate, more acidity in the coffee, the WACACO might be good for you. If you like more kind of like espresso, real espresso intensity in body and the strong taste, I would say that the OUTIN is the best one. Okay, now it's time to wrap up this video with a conclusion. I can say that both of the devices in terms of composition are pretty similar. In terms of extraction, both devices made a satisfying crema. In terms of taste, I can say that both of them can deliver a good coffee. Of course, the WACACO Nanopresso need more consideration in terms of temperature control because it doesn't have the integrated kettle like the OUTIN Nano. The OUTIN Nano is more consistent, as we saw from the water temperature test, all the time delivering the same temperature. This can be good for consistency. The WACACO one, we saw that the temperature can vary depending on if the device is cold or is warmed up. But both can make pretty good coffee. It depends about the taste. With the WACACO one, we had a shot with more acidity in it, more highlight, a bit weaker compared to the OUTIN that made an espresso that was pretty close to the one that you can enjoy from a commercial espresso machine. The WACACO Nanopresso is definitely smaller and lighter than the OUTIN Nano, so it's easy to carry on the backpack. But we can also say that you need another device to warm up the water. Now, if you travel to hotels, where usually you can easily find a kettle to warm up the water inside your bedroom, the WACACO is just enough for you. But if you're backpacking in the middle of nowhere, then you need another device to warm up the water. That will be extra weight on your shoulder. The OUTIN Nano is an all-in-one device, so you don't need to bring another device to warm up the water. So if you are in the middle of nowhere and you just have cold water, you are just fine. You can make your espresso and enjoy the peace and the nice view. But it also works without water, so even if you are in the hotel room, you can use the kettle, so it will be faster and the battery will last longer. So if you want a device that is more consistent during extraction espresso by espresso, I think the OUTIN Nano is the portable espresso for you. Now let's talk about the price. And here there is a difference. The WACACO Nanopresso on their website cost $69.90 US, when the OUTIN Nano on their website cost $139.99 US. Basically double. Now I want to hear your thoughts. Do you have any of these two devices, or you have something else, or you are interested in buying a portable espresso maker? If you would like to share your thoughts, just drop a comment in the section below. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in my next videos, and in the meantime I wish you a wonderful day and delicious coffee. Ciao!